tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Good evening, everyone. If you are tuning into AfterBuzzTV.com, you have come to the right place. This is the after show for The Amazing Race, Season 25, Episode 7, Pretty Fly for a Food Scientist. I'm your host, James Wallington, and we may be down one tonight, but we gained one.
Yes.
And that means brunettes are now the majority in the studio. I'll give it to the other side of the table. Go ahead and take it away, Jess.
Hey guys, I'm Jessica Carroll, and joining us for the very first time at AfterBuzz is...
Chase Carnahan, that's me.
Welcome, Chase. Yay! Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us tonight in the AfterBuzz studio. I appreciate it.
It is my pleasure.
And I take it you're obviously a fan of the show. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
We watch every single episode together.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And hopefully one of these episodes, one of these seasons, we'll be on it together.
Yes.
That would be good.
We would like that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let's start, promoting
maybe we could have an AfterBuzz team with the four of us. Maybe they'll do four.
Maybe they'll do a 4-person edition. They need to spice it up a little bit. You
yeah.
know?
They need to do something new.
Teams of two, Yeah, exactly. So let me ask you then, what are your overall thoughts of this season up to now?
Yeah.
I think this is, and forgive me for not having seen too many previous seasons.
That's
but
fine.
Of this season, I think it's pretty entertaining so far.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it is.
I'm normally not a reality show guy, but this one actually keeps my interest for quite a long time. Because I actually root for some of these people now.
Well,
and there's
who do you
also
root for?
Yeah, who do you want to see in the top 3?
Okay. So I was a fan of Bethany Hamilton, before she came on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see them at least advance to the next round.
Yes, they're on my team.
Really bummed they got into the bottom, bottom
what
2
you did.
this
You
last
totally
one
coached
here.
him before coming in tonight to pick
He's
your
well
teams.
trained.
Oh, please. I've got my own opinions. Okay, so I like Bethany and Adam, the Soul Surfers. I do like them. There are some people that I dislike. Luckily, they're not even on the show anymore.
Oh, who were they?
Oh, gosh.
Shelly and Missy?
Who was it? The couple from Irvine. The dating couple. Oh, Hashtag the dating couple. I know. You know what? I'm really sorry. I heard they're really nice, but in terms of performance, I just I couldn't get behind them. I'm sorry.
Well, once you meet them in person, they're awesome.
No, I'm sure they're great people.
And we'll agree because they don't really get to show Dennis and Isabel a great light because they only got 2 episodes, so there's not much to edit with. So
yeah, I could agree.
And we're actually guilty of that. We have disliked some teams on shows previous seasons,
and
then we meet them in person and we now love them, and we just feel so awkward. We're like, we actually do really love you.
So you're amazing.
It's good TV. I mean, you have to have those that you like and you dislike. You can't just like everyone because guess what? No one ever does.
That's true.
Right.
You don't want to be a liar.
At least you're being talked about.
Yeah.
That's our job up here, is to tell our opinions.
Like if you're on a reality show and you're not being talked about, then clearly you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
I know, which is really why I'm so surprised that this episode was named after the scientists.
Which they're dark horses.
Yeah, once again,
goodness.
we haven't even really been able to get to know them very well. They just kind of come here and there every once in a while. But they're still...
Hanging on.
Hanging on.
They could have the most interesting jobs in the world, and I would never know. Just because the only thing they ever describe themselves as is food scientists. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And the only thing they really talked about was, churning the butter.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what exactly do you do?
Yeah.
What prepares you for this competition?
That's a really good question. Hopefully we can have Amy and Maya in here at some point because I would love to hear their side of the story. What we're not seeing with this team. Because after all, this episode was named after them, and still I don't know a whole lot about Amy and Maya.
And again, they finished in the middle of the pack.
Yeah,
they didn't even win the episode. And they didn't go home. They didn't win. They just kind of sat there in the middle, just like usual.
Lucky episode for them. We'll get into it a little bit more, but they had a few little speed bumps on their own.
This is true.
Exactly.
So pretty fly for a food scientist. Let's take it away to Sicily, Italy.
Yeah.
We're changing gears here. They were in Morocco for 2 episodes. Now they're flying to Italy. We start with Jim and Misty on the mat. They leave at 9:44 p.m. Kim and Allie, about 2 hours behind at 11:29. Actually, Adam and Bethany left it at 11:29. Kim and Allie left at 11:31. Tim and TJ at 12:04 a.m. Brooke and Robbie 12:29 a.m. And then poor Amy and Maya, we don't really know because it just shows them running into the travel agency because they were the last team to leave the mat.
Yeah.
So they were given the route info. At the start of this leg, teams were told to fly to the island of Sicily. Upon arrival at the capital city, Palermo, they had to head to Teatro de Verdura
Good
for
try.
their first clue. Thanks, Jess. So
Sicily, I just have to say, gorgeous.
Beautiful.
I've never been there, and it's like now on my bucket list.
like when they were getting off the airplane at the airport and that sunset.
Oof.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know who said it, but it's
gorgeous.
like what airport do you just get off the plane and see that every
Yeah.
day?
Well, LAX, clearly.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, right. Are you kidding?
Hopped off the plane at LAX
Oh, jeez.
with smog everywhere. Anyway, what teams kind of stuck out to you guys in the first 10 minutes? Because, we kind of get to see a little blurb of all the teams before they travel to their next country.
I would say, so when the dentist and the cyclist were on the first flight, which
Yes.
landed 40 minutes earlier, and then they ended up sharing a taxi. Were you surprised by that?
Well, because the way it was edited to me was, okay, Kim and Allie clearly do not like Jim and Misty.
Yeah.
And they made that very clear. They were a little childish, but it was kind of funny, drawing on their car. And then you see Jim and Misty.
I loved that part, by the way.
It was hysterical. They took a moment outside of the race to just have fun.
And
Childish
you know
fun.
what? They're one team. They do that a lot. Like they just
lot.
really enjoy the race, and they, go to pubs and grab a beer, and they poke fun at the, dentists. And the fact that they put Team No Fun with like this huge smiley face, and how Amy did that like eyeball thing, because let's be honest, the dentist.
Oh, yeah. There's no getting around that one.
Yeah,
That's
she did
just
a
the way he
pretty
looks.
good job. That was funny.
I think it's all about attitude, too. Kim and Allie clearly have a great attitude about the whole thing. The other teams, they kind of get bummed out, and they start bickering at each other, and I think that's one of the things that's going to get you cut.
Yes.
Right.
So keeping a positive attitude really, says a lot about who you are as a team,
You see Misty just sleeping on the floor in the airport, like so boring.
Yeah.
And then you cut to Kim and Allie, like freaking drawing on cars and having fun and mimicking. So you can tell what teams are having fun with the race and what teams are might be taking it a little too serious.
I mean, it's a competition, but at the same time, if you're not having fun, then why are you even on the show?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the teams that do have more fun with it rather than take it so seriously are the ones that perform better in tasks because they're
Absolutely.
appreciating the flow of the race rather than getting so worked up that they're like, they can't think straight.
Right.
Exactly.
And of course, I loved, back to my wrestlers, I love them and how he's all like, we're not thinking about tweeting or fake tans or any of this like during the race right now. And then I loved how they mentioned that they actually miss working out, because to me, the race is a nonstop workout.
He said he lost half of an ab.
Half an hour.
Yeah.
And how he was hungry for pizza because they were in Sicily.
Definitely
and I guess
doesn't help.
when you're in Italy, you need pizza, right?
That's the one thing
course.
I see. The one thing that I don't understand about the shows, they never show them eating. The one thing I was telling Jess, I was like, I would be so hungry all the
Yeah.
time. And she says that they don't really eat unless they're in
We've
the
asked,
airport.
and they are like,
my
you're
gosh.
so hungry that it actually like messes with your brain.
I could imagine so. I'd probably have a backpack full of beef jerky, and that's all I would
Ugh.
carry. Beef
Yeah.
jerky and deodorant. That's all
Ew,
I'd
nasty.
carry. No change of clothes, just beef jerky.
You would bring your underwear and your socks. Oh my god, he's so weird about his socks. He like
Don't even
won't
get
wear
me started.
socks
Oh my goodness.
2 days in a row.
No, forget it.
On the other side, we have Jim and Misty who are talking about how this is the most fun they've ever had and how this is kind of an environment where they're forced to work and really communicate with one another. And they make a really good point how when you go on vacation, you may not really talk because you kind of want to do your own thing or just kind of relax. And enjoy that time. But this is an experience where you're forced to really be together.
Yeah.
And then we have the surfers who are newlyweds on the other end of the spectrum, how they're saying this is a really good boot camp for newlyweds.
Definitely.
And really testing their relationship. But don't you think you'd rather want to go on the show before you're newlyweds to really see if you're going to work out or not?
Work out?
I mean, like Keith and Whitney, for example. That was a good boot camp for those two.
But trust me, we know how much Adam loves Bethany, right?
Right.
Oh, gosh.
Always amazes me.
We always come up with drinking games. And one of the drinking games is just how many times Adam says how in love he is with Bethany.
How much Bethany surprises him and whatever.
Well, that's good. I guess
it is.
Before you get married, you shouldn't have really any surprises about your significant
That's true.
other,
but when you say it, if that's all you ever say in every single interview.
That's true. But at the same time, he's got a positive attitude about it.
Yeah.
So that's good. I like the fact that he's constantly positive. And he even says, this is really testing our relationship, but you never see them fighting.
Yeah.
They're always bringing each other up, not down, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a remarkable person, so I give her props.
Definitely. Got to give her props.
But then we see Tim and TJ who discuss how they're always bickering,
yes.
which is hysterical. I mean, I love Tim and TJ, and I was very fortunate to hang out with Tim and TJ on Thursday night.
Wow.
And they are exactly how they are in real life as you see them on the show. They're just fun, they're cute, they're quirky, they bicker together, but they work. And I think that's why they do so well as a team on the race. Maybe not this particular leg, but they still work well together as a team.
Yeah. And I actually stumbled across TJ's Instagram. I can say this, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I stumbled across TJ's Instagram, and damn, he is like the best looking drag queen I've ever seen. I was blown away. I stalked his Instagram, and I want to go see a show now.
And for those of you at home that are listening, on iTunes or watching on YouTube, make sure you check out we're plugging TJ right now. It's at Miss Tijuana on Instagram. So that's at Miss MS Tia TIA Wana WANNA.
Check it out. You will be blown away. I mean, he is gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of scary from my perspective. Jess, she pulls up his Instagram. She goes, hey, do you think this person's hot? And I was like, yeah, I normally don't like Asians, but she's cute. She goes, oh, good, because that's a guy. Like, oh, that's great. Awesome.
I love getting him.
Funny.
Yeah, well, worked for me, so.
And then we have the scientists who say that they don't really get much airtime at all, and all they said was we caught up to the other teams.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, good.
Nice job, Amy and Maya.
Yeah, we didn't get kicked off yet.
So we see all the teams, and we kind of already touched on this, all the teams land in Sicily. The dentist and the cyclist split the cab, and the cyclist did make a good point that sometimes it is very advantageous to utilize the other teams in the race to do well and get places and maybe split cab fare, whatever. So I thought it was great that they both were able to put aside their differences to help each other out.
I agree. I think that it was smart on their behalf because they were already ahead of everyone else. So it was like, you might as well just, get to the next spot. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was fine.
Yeah, definitely. It's a show about not getting eliminated. And I think they both chose wisely in forming sort of a pseudo alliance, at least for this leg, just to get past the other teams. It's not about coming first. It's about not coming in last.
Right.
Until the last episode, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot of that this episode. A lot of teaming up.
Yeah.
When teams got to the Teatro de Verdura, teams found out they were to stay there at the location overnight, taking a tambourine that was marked with the time for the next morning. So they were forced to spend the night, which again, equalizer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so that put all the teams on the same playing field. Dentists and the cyclists were the first two teams to leave, again, working together, got there first, left there first. Wrestlers and the scientists were second, and then Sweethearts and the surfers left last. They were given their route markers that morning to travel to the Villa Costa Rasa.
Beautifully said.
Thank you. But it seemed like a lot of the teams trying to get there were struggling looking for a taxi.
Yes,
Definitely.
Especially the wrestlers.
Yes, especially the wrestlers.
Which I was so surprised. I'm kind of jumping ahead right now, but they said that they were looking for a taxi for like 40 minutes.
Right.
But then they easily just caught up with everyone for the go-kart session.
I think it was the traffic. The traffic was part of the problem, wasn't it?
I didn't catch, like, I don't know how they caught up and were able to race with everyone.
Maybe in that moment when you don't see other teams, you just in your mind, you're like, okay, we've been here for far too long. When really, in reality, it probably was 5 minutes.
Yeah,
that's probably
I guess.
true.
It just seems so forever because it's such a intense moment. Like, oh, I need a taxi. There's no other teams around.
Yeah.
So
Really,
it feels like forever.
There were only 2 rounds of the go-kart races, though, weren't there?
Yeah.
Well,
Which is strange because I feel like the cabs getting to that area were so staggered. You know, so the wrestlers left, approximately 40 minutes after. Maybe it was just the way they edited it.
Yeah,
but,
you never know.
You never really know.
Maybe it's like, don't take the team's word for it. And
Yeah.
just take what
Exactly.
we see for
Right.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it seems like Brooke and Robbie were a little off with their 40 minutes trying to get their taxi. I'm trying to get my tweets ready to read. We had a lot today.
Oh, we did have
I
a
woke
lot.
up to 20 notification
Me too. I was like, I'm so popular.
from our dear friend
Oh,
Tennessee.
gosh, yeah, me,
All from the same person.
Me too.
She asked our dear friend Allie at Tennessee and Hale on Twitter. She did ask us, what did you guys think of the dentist and the cyclist working together, which we've already touched on. Then she asks, would you have tried to look for a taxi, or would you have tried to find someone else to use their phone to call for a taxi in that situation?
Instead of going with the dentist?
Yeah, because, even in this situation, too, where the people are struggling to find a taxi, in previous seasons, we have seen the racers go out of their way to whether go to, like, the hotel lobby and try to get, like, to the point, let's have a taxi come pick us up here. What do you guys think you would have done if you were a team?
If I were the wrestlers and, like, really stressing over trying to find a taxi, I would have somehow tried to call one. So at least I knew that one was on the way, and if I found one before then, I would get in that taxi, but at least I knew that there was a taxi coming.
Right.
To get.
Definitely. I think a lot of it has to do with homework as well. You always hear about teams complaining about how much they prepare for these competitions. In Italian, there's really only a few words that you need to know for the show. Where's a taxi? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about
why don't
this.
you, do a little Rosetta Stone action? I'm sure there's some free translations online. Because it's the one thing you need to know. just know in every language that you can think of.
Just
Yeah,
the popular,
Yeah.
the most
Where's a
widespread
taxi?
language.
Right, like
Or
know
just-
how to say, how do I get a taxi in every language?
Or just
Exactly.
taxi.
Yeah.
Or just get really good at charades. And,
Yeah.
all
Maybe this
languages
is just
in
a
one.
universal signal, like, I need a taxi.
Taxi.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Well, once the teams ended up getting their taxis to the Villa Costa Raza, they found out that they were doing their roadblock. One team member had to ride in a go-kart along the original route around Mount Pellegrino. If completed within 4 minutes and 7 seconds, they'd receive their next clue. This is when we have our next question from our dear old Allie on Twitter. What did you guys think of this roadblock?
Loved it. We were actually
So fun.
I would have wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And I
Totally.
should have done this because, of course, the lighter person would have gone faster. But he was all bummed out. He's like, I wanted to do this. This would have been so fun.
I think I can smoke you any day.
Oh, man. I love go-karting, and I definitely would have signed up for this one. What about you?
I would have been on board.
Yeah.
I love go-karts. Like, just throw me out there.
Yeah,
I would have
me too.
enjoyed every
That
love it.
adrenaline rush,
second
like
of
going
that.
around the corners.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
You
for
would have been
sure.
like Maya. You would have been like, "Yay, this is so fun!"
Shut
Yay.
up.
And
Well, I
then
also
just
think
have
if
to do
you
it
know
twice.
there is a time limit you have to do it within, you're more...
Metal to the pedal, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be so like afraid to really press on the accelerator.
Exactly.
So Kim, Jim, Adam, Maya, Brooke, and TJ were all the teammates that stepped up to the plate for this roadblock. We see Kim and Jim and Adam really have no problems. Same with Brooke and TJ. The only one that really went around twice, to my knowledge, was Maya, because the first time she did it was in 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Would that be correct? I want
Yeah,
to make sure
that
I
was
watched
right.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, okay, so Jim and Kim raced each other. They went first, and they literally just had seconds to spare when they crossed that finish line.
Like 5 or 6 seconds left on that. Yeah.
And then the second little group of people, well, then Maya went. And, I think that having someone that you're racing with probably would have encouraged you to even go faster, because it's like, I want to get there before this person. I don't want them to pass me. But because Maya did it by herself, I think that she had less pressure to go fast.
She might have been distracted by the scenery
Yeah.
or not cutting those corners too quickly or anything
And not
like
trying
that.
to get in front of the person in front of her.
True.
So when she had to redo it, that was kind of a bummer. And then the third round was the 4 of them: Maya, Adam, TJ, and Brooke. And Brooke and Adam had like 30 seconds to spare.
Right. What I was so obsessed about this entire sequence of this roadblock was I felt like it was a real life version of Mario Kart. And every time a team member would get ahead of the other person, it was like the name would slowly fall to the back and the next person's name would come forward. And I'm like, this is like Mario Kart. Yeah. Gosh. I loved it. And all the different shots of like at the above and then like the live like around the corner shots. I thought it was perfect. I loved every second of it.
You pointed out that
there were a few drone shots. I definitely you can tell that was pretty cool. And
when
then they had
on the Oh yeah,
they had on the front of the cart they had a metal pole with a GoPro on the front, or maybe it wasn't a GoPro, it was just a small camera. But I thought that was pretty cool how they had the POV and you could see everyone behind who you're passing. Because just like Mario Kart.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think you're a videographer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what, as a videographer watching the show, do you have a lot of respect for the camera work? Like what goes through your mind when you watch this?
Well, the one thing that I tend to notice is how many cameras they have in any particular scene, and it seems to be a lot. So it's either there's two ways to go about it. So you can either do one scene many times with a few cameras, or you can do it once with a bunch of cameras.
Right.
And it seems as if it's
like the GoPros and
exactly.
The
so if it's a true to time reality show, meaning they don't do things twice, or if somebody fumbles a line, they're not going to ask them to redo it, which I doubt. But you never know with reality TV.
You never know.
Yeah, I think it's. I think they do a really good job.
Wouldn't it be so fun to be a cameraman on the show?
I think it would.
Like travel the world.
I think it'd be stressful, just because it's like filming a wedding. You really only get one take.
And you can't
be like,
miss
hey guys,
anything.
can you kiss again? Can you do that again? Because I didn't get it. It's one of those things that would be so stressful, but also so rewarding when you get that great shot.
Right,
so,
especially if your team that you're following gets like first place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're there for the whole leg, and trust me, the cameramen have craft service, so you can eat along the way.
Yeah, I've gained a few pounds easily.
You won't have to go hungry.
I love it. Well, that roadblock, I mean, work all across the table was pretty awesome.
Oh,
So
and I
fun.
loved how they had to get into like the old vintage cars after.
So cool.
But
That
the
was
best
cool.
part was like the little like awkward small talk that they had to make like on the way down. They're like, "Oh, so this is your car? Wow."
They didn't speak any English. They're like, yes, yes, very nice.
And how Brooke was like, "So was it Brooke?" And she's like, "You really like that brake, don't you?" Or was it Kim?
Oh yeah, I think it was Brooke actually.
Brooke.
Yeah, Brooke.
Brooke. She's like, "So you can lay off the brake a little bit."
Yeah. Well, she dominated the race. It's only natural for her to want to go fast.
Exactly.
She picked the slowest guy.
Oh,
man,
Brooke.
that was so funny.
And our
Very
dear
cool.
friend on Twitter, she said she loved this roadblock and was very impressed with how well Brooke did. Speaking of Brooke.
Woo! They're on my team
Indeed.
too. Go Jets.
Brooke and Robbie. All right, before we move on to the second part of this episode, I have a few shout outs to give. I'm not going to go into detail about their comments on YouTube, but these are pretty loyal fans of our after show that every week constantly comment and interact with us, which we appreciate. We love to hear your feedback and what you think of this season. Soul Brother 69, Sunsha Shil Hedgehog,
And Soul Brother 69, Abel.
I want to know how, is it Abel? Or
Soul Brother 69able. Anyways, dude, I freaking love you because you mention my smile and my like outfits like every episode. So you are the best.
Does
Thank
the
you.
sweetest stuff
Yes.
all the time. And then Sunshashil Hedgehog. I totally butchered that username. Then we have PM Saratin, Tom King, and Sam Lane. Thank you guys for commenting last week.
Yes,
on our
thanks
after
guys.
show.
We love all the comments.
And then, of course, on Twitter, our dear old friend, another shout out, Allie Tennessean Hale. We're going to have to get you to call in Allie one of these days.
Yeah.
Just to say hi and really hear
and
your
her
feedback.
profile picture is,
Lucy Hale.
yeah, I want to know what you actually look like.
Yeah.
I'm curious
Allie.
because you always comment on whenever I, change my profile picture, you always comment on my outfit or the background. And now I'm curious to see what you look like. So send us a picture.
I agree. Perfect. All right, so moving on to... Oh, wait, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. That's like the
Yes.
most important thing. I cannot believe I even forgot about that. Just rate, comment, subscribe. Okay, great. Moving on to our detour.
Let us know how the new Chase is doing.
Yes.
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 Let me know how I'm
Maybe
doing.
we'll have him back again.
Only positive feedback, please.
All right, so on to the
The
detour.
painters versus posers.
Okay, so right off the bat, which one would you have done?
I think I would have done painters.
I-
If I was in the front of the pack, because remember, the clue was very specific that the first 4 teams that get there
could only do it.
Get to do it. So if I was in the back of the pack, then of course I would have to go straight to the posers. I would hate to waste time going to painters.
Right.
But just immediate from what I read, painters.
You know, first of all, having only 4 teams be able to do, you know, one of the detours, in my head, if I read that, I would have thought, this is probably the easier one. Because, you know, there's only 4 teams that are allowed to do it.
Right.
And after reading the clues, I would have done painting for sure.
Definitely.
But after seeing them, I would have definitely picked the posers.
Oh, yes.
Because
oh, yes.
All of the different factors that went into the painting, it was challenging.
I agree. That's a really good point, because I think after watching it too, it would be a no-brainer to do posers over painters.
Oh, yes,
Right.
definitely.
I mean, you know, having the thickness of the line and the colors and how awkward it was to paint and the heat. They kept mentioning the heat.
And then you have to be judged, too. I think that's one of the weird things about the show is that a lot of times they have time trial versus judgment. And any time they have a judgment, it's always more difficult.
Harder, yeah.
You know, in the previous episode where they had to, when they were in London and they had to march the changing of the guards.
Oh,
It was
right.
all based on judgment. So, you know, one judge could have a particularly bad day, and guess what? You get U-turned and you're done.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And I think laying on your back, I just...
would have been stressful.
really...
Oh, yeah.
It would have been stressful, and it's an awkward angle, and I feel
Oh,
like you don't
yes.
have as much control as if you're on like a countertop and you
Right.
can really paint and do whatever. On
You're
your-
going like this.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
It's
I
fun.
would hate that.
I forget who said it, but somebody says, "Gosh, who paints like this?" You know, well, I mean,
Michelangelo.
yeah, everyone else who's ever painted on a ceiling, I guess.
Yeah.
But get used to it, buddy.
So in painters, the 4 teams that chose this part of the detour had to travel to Tornaro. I'm totally
I
butchering
like
all
how
these
you
names.
sing them when you don't know. You're like,
Tornaro Florio.
Just gotta make it sound good, and then
Exactly.
no one will say
Tornaro
anything.
Florio, where they had to
beautiful.
restore a fresco while lying on their backs on a high scaffolding as Michelangelo did. If artists was pleased with their work, they would receive their next clue. Now moving on to the other part of the detour, posers, which we saw Brooke and Robbie and Amy Maya do. Those teams had to watch a series of opera performers, then head backstage and match the performers' costumes, characters, and plays in the order the performers sang. Once they were judged, they would receive their next clue.
which that sounds so confusing.
Oh, yes.
But really, all you had to remember was what they wore.
Just hearing that that little tooltip
Yeah.
there scared me. I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, I would easily choose painting, but once you got to the challenge, it was easy peasy.
Right.
Exactly.
And I felt bad for Amy and Maya because they had to do the, go-kart twice, and then they actually went to the painting, and it was a foot race to
Yeah.
get that last 4th spot. And sadly, they didn't get it, so they had to switch detours over to the posers.
But even so, jumping ahead a little bit, Amy and Maya checked in to the pit stop before Brooke and Robbie,
Which is
who Brooke and Robbie
amazing.
had the opposite mindset where it was like, okay, well, there's probably 4 teams ahead of us. Let's just go to posers.
Right.
But even then, Amy and Maya checked
So I
in
guess it worked
before
out for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Definitely.
But I also think since Amy and Maya they're food scientists, and when I think scientists, I just feel like you're very good visually and calculating things
memorizing.
coming up with a
Analytically,
method.
definitely.
They probably had a method locked down the moment they got there and how to remember the series of, okay, costumes, characters, plays,
Right.
and putting that in order.
Which they kind of did, actually, because you heard Amy and Maya say, okay, like, I think they must have split up, like, who to remember. Like, you remember the first half of the group, and you remember the second half,
They
because
had a
they
process,
said,
yeah.
oh, yeah, this is my girl, or, oh, no, this was your character or opera singer.
Right.
So
Divide and conquer.
yeah,
It's
they
easy.
already had a system.
Definitely.
And that's true, because that way, if you went into it together, you have... This is why the race is so awesome, because if you think of the different strategies, painting, there's just 2 people crammed on a scaffolding painting the same area. When you have 2 teammates going to do the posers, like you said, like Amy and Maya, splitting it up, being like, I got these 5, you got these 5. And then if I get all mine and you forget one, we'll come back and just focus on that one
Right.
particular opera singer.
Yeah, and I think it was particularly strategic for Brooke and Robbie to team up with these
Yeah.
scientists as well, because, I think both of them had gotten one thing wrong.
Yeah.
It was a minor mistake on the part of the wrestlers, but the scientists had actually gotten one incorrectly. But teaming up was, like I mentioned earlier, it's all about not getting eliminated.
Exactly.
You
Right.
don't have to be first; you just can't be last.
And you think in that moment too, well, there's 4 teams at the other detour. Since they're ahead of us, we might as well, since we are at a disadvantage, being stuck with this particular detour,
Right.
why not work together and hopefully knock out someone on the painter detour?
I thought it was smart that they did work together. I'm still kind of confused because the wrestlers turned in a paper with one line completely blank. You know, you think if they just like looked over it just one last time, they would have realized like, oh, we forgot to write down the opera singer or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And the lady even said that it was incomplete. She didn't say it was incorrect. She said it was incomplete, which is kind of a testament to maybe they should use a little bit more of their brains instead of their brawn.
But, you know, once again, I think it was Brooke, or just the wrestlers in general, they psyched themselves out before they even started the detour. Like, the minute they got there, they're like, why are we doing this? We should switch. Like, we have the worst memories. When they realized, when they actually got to the room, all they had to remember was the costume.
Exactly.
So they always just psych themselves out before they even realize what they're doing.
And I wonder if we keep seeing these clips or these situations where they do psych themselves up or they get really worked up in that moment and watch that ultimately be their downfall. That could be building up their whole storyline throughout this race. And let's say they're in the top 4 and it's like neck and neck to get to the top 3 placements. And then because of this repetitive story we keep seeing with this particular team, it's like, okay, Brooke and Robbie, that was their ultimate downfall. Right. They can't just focus and get it done.
I think in terms of microanalyzing the team, it's like they have such good physical skills, and I think that's why they want to pair up with, you know, a team like the Scientists in terms of comparing their answers, because their thought process is, well, if we get there at the same time, we're going to beat them in a foot race anyways. So why not just complete the challenge together, and then we'll beat you?
Hey,
you know?
That's smart.
Yeah, but I think, you know, in terms of going along with, you know, the smart thing to do, they decided to go with their brawn over their brains, even in finding a taxi. Instead of you know, sitting down, collecting their thoughts, and following the other teams, they decided to sprint a mile in the other direction, and it cost them 40 minutes. Exactly. It almost cost them the race, but luckily they pulled through. But, you know, that might not happen next time.
Yeah.
Well, there will be a next time for the Brooke and Robbie because they did get to the pit stop in 4th place. So let's talk about the pit stop. We have Jim and Misty in 1st place once again. Yay, Team James. The judges getting 1st. We have the cyclists Kim and Allie getting 2nd. Amy and Maya, the food scientists, getting 3rd. Brooke and Robbie, the wrestlers, getting 4th. The Soul Surfers, Adam and Bethany, getting 5th. And then my team, which surprised me, Tim and TJ getting last place.
I know.
I was shocked by that.
I'm just
I did not think that.
I'm happy that it was a non-elimination.
Me too, because I do feel like there's a lot more life to our college sweethearts, Tim and TJ.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny at this point in the race. If I were on the mat and I saw the team, because when they walked in, they immediately knew that they were last because Adam and Bethany were there, and they were like, jaw drop. I would already be a mess.
Oh, me too.
Thinking, oh my God, my game is over.
I would be bawling.
Crying, like we've come so far. I don't want to get 6th place. And then when Phil's like, oh, you know, good news, it's not elimination, I would probably fall to my knee. I would have been so dramatic. But these two are like, all right, great job. Like hugging. I was like, oh my gosh. It's so funny.
They're so cute.
My question is, okay, so how did they know that Adam and Bethany had come in 5th? Was everyone else just behind Phil, just kind of like hanging out?
Well, I think because they knew Jim and Misty and Kim and Allie had already left the painter detour.
Oh, okay.
They figured, okay, well, we don't know where Brooke and Robbie, Amy. I just assumed based on their facial reaction with Adam and Bethany, I felt like they were like, wow.
Adam and Bethany are usually in the top 2.
Yeah,
so
I know.
It was strange for me to see their reaction when they had already admitted defeat when they walked up.
Well, maybe Tim and TJ will let us know the inside scoop.
Definitely.
Because they always do. They watch this. I know for a fact.
Yes, please let us know. We want to know.
We do.
So let's just dive into our points that we've gained from this episode, Jess.
Oh, God. This is embarrassing.
So last week, you predicted that Adam and Bethany were going to get 1st, which was wrong. But you also said Tim and TJ would get last. And that gave you a bonus point. On top of your points for having Brooke and Robbie and Adam and Bethany get 4th and 5th, which is a total of 6 points this episode.
Yay!
Which brings your total up to 48.
Woo!
What place are you in?
Still
3rd.
Shut up.
Out of how many?
Shut up.
Okay.
It's okay. We're coming back.
Then we have myself, who I predicted Jim and Misty would get 1st. I said Amy and Maya would get last, which was a no. But I did say it was a non-elimination.
Yes.
And then I got 6 points for Jim and Misty and 1 point for Tim and TJ. which gives me a total of 8 points and 59 points total. I don't know why I'm talking like this.
Congratulations.
It's because you feel bad that I'm losing so bad.
Yeah.
No, we need to be Justin because Justin keeps getting lucky with his two teams of Kim and Allie and Amy. And he has the dark horse of the entire show, Amy and Maya.
Yeah.
And he's still racking up the points.
I know.
Craziness.
So with that, he got Kim and Allie 5 points.
He should lose
Amy
points
Maya,
for
4
not being
points.
here right now.
Take him away from him, give him to me.
Minus 5.
Yeah.
I'll take him. 5 points for me.
Chase is coming in
wait.
fourth place with 5 points.
Justin just texted me. Let's see if he's watching.
Uh-oh.
Let's take a brief pause.
How am I doing for filling in, Justin? Let us know.
Justin, you just
okay. He just texted me his predictions. Perfect timing.
Wow.
Ooh.
So he's saying that Kim and Allie. Oh, we'll get to predictions in a second.
Okay.
So, anyways, I'm at 59, and Justin's at 64. So those are the standings.
Okay.
So Justin's still in first, 64. Me second, 59. Jess 48. But I have faith
I'm
that
coming
we
back.
can knock Justin down.
Coming back. We got to get Justin.
So let's dive into some predictions.
Predictions.
Sounds good.
Ooh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, normally in the past, I make Justin go first because I just love to pick on him. But since he's not here, I'll make him go first still via text message.
Even better.
He said Kim and Allie will get first on the next leg, and the scientists will go home. Awesome.
The scientists. Okay.
Yes. Then I also asked him 2 bonus questions because I'm going to add some bonus points in there because we need them.
He always throws in these bonus things.
Bonus points. The bonus point. First question is, will the express pass be used? The next bonus point, will the save be used?
Ooh.
And then of your teams remaining, so I asked Justin who's going to do the roadblock between Kim and Allie, and then who's doing the roadblock between Amy and Maya. So think about those for your teams.
Oh, okay.
I'll think about them for mine.
Okay.
While we do that, how about you give us your
Predictions for next episode.
Yes.
I should have paid more attention to the little trailer for the next episode.
Remember
I think we watched it twice.
Yeah, remember
but...
their
it's that log with the flags, on it. Ooh.
And then the rope decliner thing.
I think one thing to mention is the physicality of each individual team. Who is the most physically fit?
Yeah.
And I think in this episode, just from seeing what I saw on the teaser for the next episode, I think the wrestlers are going to shine this time. You know what?
Come on,
if it's more of a
babies.
physical challenge, I think the wrestlers or the dentists are going to shine.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I think Tim and TJ are probably going to go home next. I doubt there's going to be 2 elimination or non-elimination rounds in a row. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, it looks to me, and I'm no expert, I'm just on a recap show. I think Tim and TJ are going to go home, unfortunately. I like them. They're entertaining, but it doesn't seem like they're going to bode too well next episode.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Jess, give it to me.
Okay, I just hope that Bethany and Adam get back in the top of the game.
Me too.
So I'm going to just say, they might not be first, but they're going to get back up there. I'll say they're going to be one of the top 3 next episode. And then, I have to sadly agree with you. I think Tim and TJ, just because it is such a physical episode next week, or actually not next week. We have
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now.
Okay, yeah.
But I think that they might be going home, sadly.
Surprise us, please.
Yeah.
Surprise us.
Prove us wrong.
Okay.
Break a
And
leg out
then,
there.
okay, so what was the other question?
Will the save be used?
Oh, yeah. I
Will
didn't
Jimmy
answer
Misty
that.
use their save?
No, they're not going to because
They don't need
they're
to.
in the top. Why would they? They're not going to
Yeah.
end up needing to use their
Unless
save.
disaster strikes. Unless somebody uses it, or somebody goes through a detour.
They only have one
Incorrectly.
more leg to use it because it has
Yes.
to be used before the 9th leg.
Oh.
So then this is the next episode's the only time they could use it.
Right.
You think they're going to use it?
Probably not.
Yeah, I say no. I think safe's not going to be used.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the express pass. I mean, they might as well use it. They can use it, regardless. Just throw it out there, right?
Do they have to use it in a certain time frame? Like, is this the last leg that they're capable of using the express pass?
That's
or?
a good question. I don't remember. I think they can use it up to the final 5.
Ooh, okay. So it's probably one more episode,
Yeah.
right?
So one more. I mean, I think they have it. They might as well just use it.
Yeah.
So I think, they're going to do it.
If it gets
Okay.
them a free trip somewhere, why wouldn't they use it?
Exactly. So who do you think is going to do the roadblock, Adam or Bethany? These are really tough questions.
Do we know? Okay, so do we know if it's the log one or the rope?
That's why it makes it tough, because you can't tell from the commercial.
Because I mean, if it's the, oh God, I'm gonna say Adam, just because.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Adam.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say Robbie.
Great. Wait, so who did you say would get first?
I didn't say it first. I'm gonna say Misty and Jim are gonna get first again.
Okay.
But I said that Bethany and Adam are gonna get the top three.
Okay, great. I'm gonna say the same thing. I think Jim and Misty will get first. I don't think the save will be used. I think the express pass will be used. I think last place, I really don't want to say it. I'm going to say Tim and TJ.
Wow.
Oh, it's so sad.
Unanimous decision.
I'm really nervous that something's going to happen.
Who did? Oh, and Justin said Amy and Maya.
Yeah. Which to me would be my next guess, but I said it last week on our after show. There's something with Amy and Maya that we're not getting, and I think there's a reason for that.
I just think that they haven't been. There's not enough airtime for them to just go home, I don't think.
That's
mystery
exactly
team.
it.
Mystery team,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like they might come out of nowhere and completely blow our minds, like the last 3 episodes.
Right.
Yeah,
Like
and
first,
they did. Yeah, the last
And I'll be
episode
like-
they had two major setbacks. They had to do the go-kart lap again, and then they had to go from one detour to the other detour.
Maybe their cameraman just helping them out.
Maybe they have a really fast cameraman.
That
That could be it.
Yeah.
I like that theory.
Even though I really want to say Brooke and Robbie, because I don't want to say Tim and TJ because they're part of my team. But I'm going to say Dentist first, Tim and TJ last, the save not used, express pass used, TJ do the roadblock, and Jim do the roadblock.
So you
Got
think
it.
TJ's doing the roadblock
Yes.
and he's going home?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Because they have to do.
You must
they
not
have
like
to
TJ.
do that speed bump because they got last place.
Oh,
I
yeah.
forgot about
Yes.
that.
But-
And especially
That's
because
a bummer.
the next challenges are so physical. I know, I'm sad to say
The
it.
cards are stacked against them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Well, the next episode, Turn of Events, won't be for another 2 weeks, but they'll be traveling to Malta. And we have maybe a special edition of
Yes.
our after show next week.
We can't go 2 weeks without having an after show. So
can't.
we'll come up with something creative.
Maybe
Yeah.
they'll bring me back.
Yes.
That'll be great.
We'll see if our viewers want you back.
So everyone, comment below after you rate, comment, and subscribe. That's a must. Rate,
Yes.
comment, subscribe first, and then tell us your predictions for the next episode. That's 2 weeks from last
Yeah.
Friday. And I also want to let you all know for our special edition after show next week, we have 2 teams
Yes.
that will be joining us in the studio. I won't say who yet because if something happens and they can't come in, I don't want to get everyone too worked up over it. But I'm letting you know we have 2 really special guest teams coming in the studio who may or may not still be on this episode of The Amazing Race. We'll kind of do like a mid-season recap, talk about what the experience has been
Hear
like
all
for
the behind the
them,
scenes
all the
gossip.
behind-the-scenes
Oh, man.
gossip.
That's going to be good.
So you don't want to miss it next week, Monday. We'll be back at our original time. Justin will also be here. Where can they find you on social media?
Twitter is at Chase Carnahan. Instagram at Superquads. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks for joining us
You're
today.
welcome. Thank you guys for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Well, thank you for joining us.
And you
course.
guys can find me at DressJessXO on all the social media sites.
And you can find Justin Nichols at Justin J. Nichols on all social media platforms. And I'm James Wallington. You can find me on Twitter at James Wallington and on Instagram at Mr. James Wally. And that's it. That's a wrap for our after show this week.
Yes.
And we cannot wait for next week. And don't forget to tweet and comment below.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Thanks.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.